Yeah, man, it's I guess I've been producing video for about part of a year now, or almost a year. I was scrolling through and I was like, man, I've got a lot of videos, a lot of different shit.
Yeah.
From there.
You can turn on the camera, the screen, you can flip it so it's facing us. There you go. It's already recording. It's cumulative. Here's the thing. The goal is to continue making video in the next 5 years and then look back and see. Because then it's going to be like, man, do you remember when Tim released his mixtape? He got albums now.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Just looking at your stuff, man. Just that's why that's why I do like breaking it up right now. It's tedious,
Tedious?
And, putting it out and breaking it up and doing everything, you basically talk right into the video, so you really don't have to put any text or anything like that. Yours seems fairly simple. But still, it takes time to do it. That's why you've outsourced it.
Yeah.
I like that at this stage. I actually get to examine more closely what I'm doing and how do I explain that to somebody, and do they actually get what I'm doing? Do they see what I'm, or do they just see the pressing? There's some people I follow on Instagram and stuff, man. It's very interesting, especially people in other countries.
Yeah.
What are they doing and what do they, what are their expectations of massage and what are their boundaries, Found this piece right here, man.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just for a moment.
Yeah. I'm gonna go too far. That's right. Here, man.
One of the things I think is interesting is I think people on the outside could look at my behavior and they go, I don't understand, what's he doing? And then if you ask me, I'm like, oh, I'm going over there. Like, generally. Like, that way. Go towards the North Star or whatever. But they act like I know what I'm doing. Like, they don't understand what I'm doing, but they'll think, oh, he knows what he's doing. It's like, nah, not
you
really.
must know. So people think you must know what they're doing.
A little.
They must know what they're doing if they're going out there and putting videos and
it changes.
And you're an instructor, you must know what you're doing. And we do know what we're doing too.
To a point. What I mean is, they think it's like formulated in a way that it's not, and they're like, man, how do you like? Do you write out what you're going to say on camera?
Dude, I already told you that already. I was like, nah.
Press the button on the camera and improvise.
And that you have not understood is a gift of gab, man. That is not normal for people to do that.
Public speaking.
Even if did you go to
people
class?
Would prefer to be in the casket at a funeral than
Yeah.
get the eulogy.
Exactly. Like, oh man, you trying to kill me too?
I like public speaking.
Did you go to a class to do that?
No.
Most people have to go to a class, and even then, they have this. As soon as you turn the camera on, there's like this performance anxiety.
Yeah.
Man, and I guess, man, I took a theater class, and I was always one that I didn't want to do it. But as soon as I'm up there, I might as well perform because I'm not trying to look like an idiot. Or if I'm going to look like an idiot, I'm going to look like a really big idiot, and it's going to be funny. That was my approach to it. But most people don't even want to go on the stage. They can't even say anything. And for you to actually go and just talk and do it and it be really relaxed, man, that's got to be mind-boggling. People have to think you're doing it on a script. Like I said before, there's not many. I don't even think Biggie freestyled like that. Okay. That's no one says that about Biggie Smalls. No one says, "Oh, Biggie Small." I'm sure he could freestyle.
So rappers and hip hop, I suspect. I suspect it goes one of two ways, and sometimes they cross over. Meaning, did Eminem write, or did he freestyle? And I think he did both.
He did both.
But he wrote and wrote and wrote to improve improvisation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's a chicken and the egg thing, because where does the rap and stuff come from? It comes. Sometimes it was just at the beginning. It was just freestyle. People, the MCs, they didn't write raps when rap first started, and they were doing block parties. It wasn't, hey, yo, come out and do your thing. It was like, hey, I'm just gonna get on the mic and I'm gonna rap to whatever comes in sight. It was an improv, and then when we started writing stories, then we started writing things down. But then we had, we were writing things down. But there were people, in my era, Swisher House came out, and it was all about freestyle. Okay? Some people did it well, some people did not. And you don't talk about big rappers that do. The ones that they did was like Tupac. Tupac was known for just going into the studio, let me hear the beat. Boom, boom, boom. He may jot a few words down, but then he would just go and just say something, and people are like amazed, like he spent weeks writing this rhyme, like most singers do. Most singers go out and, it took me, a few days to write this song, or a couple weeks to write this song. No. Lil Wayne was said to, he did like this 45-minute rap once in the studio. Out of everything he had written down, he just went out and said it all. And then he was like, man, after I did that, I didn't have anything else to write. I just started freestyle and stuff. And that's when it became even more exciting.
Yeah.
And that's what you can do. You don't plan it, and it's almost, what is he gonna say? We don't know what he's gonna say. We don't even know if you go back and look and be like, damn, should I have not said that? It's like you really don't care what you say. You don't care what you say, and you don't care what other people say. Think about it, and that's the fear.
I think, is it scripted? Is it improvised? It's both. And here's what you do. You play to your strengths. If you're somebody and you're like, no, I like scripted, I like written, I like formal. Okay, do that. Mm-hmm. And it's only going to bring you so far. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, now go rap battle.
It's different.
Well, you better have it scripted.
Yeah, right. So, and if you do have it scripted in a rap battle, man, people are going to look down at you.
I think working as a therapist, they had 30-minute sessions, mechanic. Like, they came in, what you got, shoulder? Okay, what's wrong with shoulder? You had to help them in 30 minutes or they weren't going to return and work with you.
Dude, I'm glad you said that, because that's what I did when I worked as a training director, and I did interviews, and I got to choose, I'd go back and conversate with a person, hey, this is their ups and downs, and, they may have trouble here, send them through the rest of it. It wasn't an hour massage. One, I didn't want to fall asleep. But two, within 5 minutes, I knew if they were going to be good or not. 3, most people did not know how to do a massage in 30 minutes. If I said, you got 30 minutes, this area is what what most people want worked on. What do you do? And they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do in 30 minutes. I can't get my groove on. I can't get into it. It usually takes them 30 minutes for them to get in the groove of the massage. Yeah. And then 30 minutes in, they start doing something good, and that massage envy if you do 30 minutes of warming up, how much more time you got to do a massage?
Yeah.
You got 20 more minutes, right? They got 50-minute massages. So you're a mechanic in 30 minutes. I think that's how you. That's different. And
what
I
I
think
started
that's a
to
different
do
massage
is
therapist.
with the camera, at least this is my experience doing it for social media, is I started turning on the camera and recording class. I started turning on
Why?
my camera and recording sessions. Well, because I need footage for various uses, for subscription, for teaching, for social
But
media.
before, I mean, you were recording before the subscription.
Yes.
Were you recording before you started Thai Jam? I don't even know if you were calling it Thai Jam back in Casa de Luz or anything like that.
Open practice.
Yes, but were you recording? I don't
Not as
remember
often.
you were recording
It
as often.
evolved. It evolved. I didn't know what it was.
Right.
Why?
But what made you think, hey, I'm gonna record this thing? I'm gonna do something that no one else does.
It grew slowly over time. And I realized that it was clothed. I'm like, oh, dude, that gives me like a huge edge. I can record everything and like be twice as noisy as everybody else.
But let's go back. Because some people just see you as the massage therapist. You know, they don't see you as, hey, naked man doing the yoga. You know.
Thank you.
So you had been doing videos and talking to people very freely, half naked on YouTube already.
Yeah.
So you had already seen the value in videos
Sort of.
then.
Sort of.
Because it wasn't about massage then. It was about yoga, about instructing people in
Yeah.
self-care.
Or part of it, yeah.
You know,
I'm just as much a yoga teacher as a massage
Right.
therapist, but
So
people
did
don't
you
see
think-
that side as much.
did you think then, oh, I need to record yoga sessions?
No. Because I didn't understand the game. I didn't have a full perspective on what was going on.
So you just decided, hey, I'm going to record myself doing yoga stuff.
Yep.
And people might like.
That was as simple as it was like, well, I think this is supposed to be good for business if I
So it was a business thing at the
here's the
beginning. So
video
it was a
and, like,
business thing, not just a, hey.
I'll show them how to do triangle pose, and then maybe somebody who's looking up yoga poses will find me and I'll get a yoga student or whatever.
Okay. So it was about business at the very beginning. It
Yeah,
wasn't
no,
just-
no.
wasn't
All
just
of it
about-
was the website. It was all business. It was social media and YouTube, and it was like, okay, like I guess videos. Yeah, I guess videos are good or whatever.
Will you lift your fingers straight up in the air?
Now, here's what really started to happen, and this clued me in. Like we did the carpal tunnel class, and the model actually had problems with her hands. People were blown away
Up in the air and give me a twist.
that I used a model that actually had the problem I was working on. And I was like, whoa.
Hold on.
They thought I was supposed to use a model that didn't have problems with their hands? Like, I don't get to capture their issues. I don't get to capture their responses. I don't, like, what I like to do is improvise on camera. Here's the most fun, because this is the challenge, because this is where, to me, the Thai massage jam, the relief clinic, whatever, is battle rap.
Who are you battling against?
Well, pain.
Okay.
But the thing is,
Battle
it's
rap.
the improvise. It's like the public is watching. People are watching me do this. Now they come in and like the Thinkery. That Thinkery video was like, which got problems with. Did anybody we worked on go? I don't know. We're very good.
I don't think so.
No, they were like, man, this was great.
We had a dude.
Nobody
we had a
said,
line.
where's the chair?
We had a line.
Nobody
of people.
said, wait, I don't understand. This is a massage. You got to improvise.
We had a line of people for 3 hours non-stop.
Yep. And the challenge now is, can people come in with an issue? You work on them in 30 minutes. And not only is the work effective, but you have fun. And it's like you tell a joke and you entertain people at home and on all levels.
Did that give you an idea? Does that
To make money.
so doing what we did at the Pinkery and you doing the Thai massage, do you think that's scalable? 10-minute, come in, get your quick fix.
Infinitely scalable. That's what the relief clinic is. Well, increasingly, here's what happens. Like, I think there was a gap between what I was doing and what I was recording. watch your mic there. Just make sure. There was a difference between what I was doing and what I was recording. And then I'm getting a more distinct sense over time that the real value is just do what you do and turn on the camera.
Yep. Yep. And man, you know, people are afraid of that. People are afraid of, what if she goes, ow?
I'm not.
You know.
Then I document the error. Mm-hmm. And here's what happens from an educational standpoint. When they say, ow, I say, oh, is that too much pressure? How are you doing? What's going on?
Again, another thing.
It teaches the students.
Another thing that is not common, and because it's taught against, don't talk to the client.
Bullshit.
Don't talk to the client. All that talking you're doing is people are cringing, you know, in the schools because you're not supposed to talk to the client that much. That's, you know, the client's gonna be complaining.
Does a hairdresser or does a barber talk to you when they cut your hair?
That they do.
Depends on the barber. Depends on what you got going on. Depends on your clients. Depends on what they come in for. If you're just doing relaxation, if you're doing work that you'd like to be more spiritually inclined because you want people to fall into a trance, don't talk. Clients come in, and that's the thing. Somebody said this about me the other day. They're on the subscription, and they're like, you talk all during your sessions. When I get a session, I only have the person tell me to turn over. That's the only time they talk. And I go, the videos on the subscription are for educational purposes. If you were just giving me a session right now, I might shut up. But this is being recorded because I know it's going on YouTube. It's like intent. I know it's probably going to go on the subscription or whatever. Mm-hmm. Makes sense? Yeah.
But on the other side, though, there's sometimes in this form of work, sometimes he talks. Sometimes.
When you go towards pain relief, I think you communicate more. Verbally. Mm-hmm. And here's where it gets weird. Can you sometimes, by feel, know where the tension is, where it's more uncomfortable? Yep. Okay. But
you don't have to talk.
Here's what I think happens. When you encourage verbal communication, you encourage the client to be a part of the team.
Yes. And that's why I like to do some of the motions and, you know, do magic tricks. And, you know, they're like, ha, ha, ha. They laugh and, you know, they start to do it. But they also get the connection like, oh, wow, that movement does, you know, it affects that right there. And it's okay. Sometimes they do go into a zone for a couple minutes.
So it's very common in my sessions. You come in, we might talk for 30 minutes. Just chat, whatever. Then, that day, I'm drinking tea, there's music on. I don't ever play music. Why? Well, we're recording this. They think it's just like the recordings are, and it's not. So, I work on you for 30 minutes, there's some chatter, and then... don't say nothing for 45 minutes. And then it's like, oh, Tim, how's that on your foot? And you're like, oh, dude, right. Oh, no, a little more. Oh, right there. And then you fall in again for another 20 minutes. Until, you know, whatever. It's like, what I don't do is I don't fight. Sometimes therapists, you get a chatty Kathy. Hey, Kathy, what's going on? To me, it's just as therapeutic in a way. Like, we work on bodies, but do we help people interpersonally? In the same way that barbers do. There was an article I saw, and it was like, we talk about barbers and how barbers feel like they're filling in for counselors and mental health. And it's like, you're cutting a guy's hair. Guys don't have people to talk to. And it's like, oh, how you kids? How your wife? You know, they talk about stuff.
But sometimes that's nice, man. Those things that you do, you're creating a personal connection. Yes. And that's what every sales manager wants their salespeople to do.
So here's what's weird. Massage therapists feel weird about intimacy and connection. But you know what I try to get them to sell more of? Intimacy and connection. I'm like, make it more intimate. Make it more connected. And they're like, oh, but...
As a guy, so man, is that different? So is that a different scenario for a guy and a girl?
Nope.
So guys aren't the ones going online every day talking about, oh my gosh, I had a creep, want me to give me a hand job.
But no. Okay, but when guys come in for asking for a hand job, are they actually getting intimacy and connection?
In the public's eye,
go ahead.
Yes. Psychologically, no.
I think that in American culture, we're puritanical. And I think that because there's a complete dearth of intimacy, connection, and touch, all touch becomes sexual.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what the problem is.
Yes.
And we're never going to avoid that until some of that puritanical stuff is dealt with.
Right.
Guys are so weird. They're like, oh man, I don't know, Tim, like, you had a guy work on you? I don't know. I'm like, wow. Because they're totally in a different space.
Robert, guys generally know two forms of touch. Violent touch, sexual touch. That's it. And I can explain this because I can do jujitsu with another guy. I got my gi on, I'm all sweaty and shit. You know, it's 108 degrees here in Texas. Sweat drip down into his mouth and stuff. You know, I'm on top of him and I switch and my nuts are all in his face. You know, and I armbar him. And he gets up. What does he do? He doesn't get nuts in my face. He didn't do that. Dude, that's a good roll, man. Awesome, man. I couldn't move, man.
But there's a context for it.
But dude, if I say, tell that same guy, dude, your arm, man, I jacked it up while we were rolling. Yeah. Come get a massage from me. Nah, man, I don't know about it.
Interesting.
I don't know about that.
I don't know how they are about that. Yeah.
Some guys are like that.
Interesting.
Some guys, and that's what I mean by if it's a violent touch, they're okay with it. If it's a sexual touch from another woman or by a man, they don't like it. Even if it's a woman, hey, it's okay. It's a sexual touch. Yeah. You know, that's how I view things like that. And that's how I've seen it. There's only two. You know, how can you teach a man now that other kind of touch?
Time massage jam. It's a piece of it. The thing is, like, it's been interesting in the Me Too era because this has evolved in the last couple of years. I'm actively attacking that in class and bringing it up. I'm not avoiding the topic. I'm going, no, your culture is fucked. Your people are fucked up, and the way that we deal with communication and gender issues and sexuality and touch is fucked. You're never, ever going to escape this in massage as long as your culture is unhealthy. That's what the problem is. And it's like, if I bring up Me Too, they're like, what? You don't have I'm like, no, I have a fundamental, core fundamental issue that men can't get consent. Like, you know why women are pissed? Because you're assholes. That's why. Because you don't get fucking consent. That's why. It's not because women don't like to be touched, and it's not because women don't like to have sex, and it's not because people of various genders and sexualities don't like to express themselves. They want to feel safe. That's what the problem is. And it's like, if you're a man, and let's say you like women, guess what happens if you're a man and you learn how to communicate and express safety and concern? You get more sex easily. Like, Tim, I talk to women and they're like, well, Robert had a conversation with me and made food. He's kind of nice. Because you didn't overstep their boundaries. You communicated effectively. Our industry needs to deal with connection and intimacy. I think that recordings like this go a long way towards creating that. Not only our conversation, but it normalizes touch. What I love about the Time Massage Jam, I'll say this again and again, I loved this, is guys, especially young guys from the acro yoga community in our early days, because I was still experimenting, trying to figure out what was going on. Guys would come in, and Tim, I could see it in their face, they were like, oh my God, I get to touch a girl. Whoa. And I'm like, calm your hormones. And here's what happened. They were so excited, they'd come back week after week, and everybody was partnered up, and there'd be like 2 or 3 guys. And they'd sit around like awkwardly for 15 minutes until finally they'd go, well, hey, we'll work on you? And I go, now you get it. And once they relaxed and worked on each other, like, it helped create that space.
Oh gosh, I know it did. Yeah. They didn't seem that weird then. Afterwards, before you're just a guy,
they don't have context.
You're just a reaper in the corner.
We're massage therapists. We have more practice at it than other people do. So it's like when you're dealing with the public, which is mainly what the jam is, there are therapists who come, and there are people from other communities, whether it be CrossFitters, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, other sorts of, cultural contexts. But to create a space where guys for the first time went, oh, yeah, I guess a guy could touch me and make me feel better. Like, that was awesome. I was like, there you go.
Because you get a lot of that. And, they weren't guys that were interested in other guys either. So a lot of people would be like, oh, they probably like other guys or something. That wasn't the case at all. We had a very mixed group.
Yeah.
Very mixed group, especially when, you were downtown. Very mixed group. Young, old people came in. That was pretty awesome, man. Still is. That was pretty awesome.
It's more mixed now that there are more jams. And it's like...
So I went in Dallas, man. That one looks pretty, like she's been doing one fairly often, is it? Karen?
Karen Ricketts, yeah, she's in Denton.
Yeah. I'll have to holler at some people when I go into the Dallas-Fort Worth area again.
What I try to get the therapist to do is I want them to connect very deeply with their clients. They're using video to do so as an element, as a component. What I want you to do, Tim, is I want you to find your clients, whoever they are. Maybe you decide it's women. It's women who are soccer moms from 45 to 25. Whatever it is. I want you to be able to connect with them and have them understand, like, wow, Tim actually cares about me.
Right.
That's what increases sales. It's not just, well, he does a good massage. Lots of therapists do a good massage. Do you connect with that person? I always bring this up. Hairdressers. I'm like, women, what happens when you break up with your hairdresser? Oh, Lord have mercy. And I'm like, why? And it's like, well, it's not just the hair. It's like they know me, they know my family, they know my kids, and that's the thing. Hairdressers have more connection from the chatter.
Yep.
It's not just hair. It's not just relaxation.
That's what probably a lot of, I imagine a lot of people go there for the chatter. It's just like the barbershop.
Barbershop.
You see the barbershop.
And for men, that's an awesome.
It's the it's the connection there, the chatter. Yeah, man, that was... I've been able to integrate a lot of different things, man. I've done a bunch of different jobs in the past, and massage has been there throughout all of them. Now, although, I guess in high school, man, there was three things. I was going to either become a chef, personal trainer, or I was going to do some massage therapy. One of those three, And I had construction. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be everything a woman wants. Yeah, do all those things. But really, massage was there since like 9th grade for some reason or another. But I worked in shoes, sold shoes for a long time, like Al Bundy. It was, not just the shoes you see at Walmart. These were like $100. No, the cheapest shoe we had was like $69.99. The rest of them were like $100 and up. So we're fitting these shoes, and you sell them, the $12 pair of socks, and you sell them the $50, $60 insole on top of the $130 shoe. Those things. And I remember somebody explaining, like when you're, one, the manager was like, you need to create a personal connection. Sit down, talk to him, not just about the shoe, but hey, how you doing? What's this going on? What kind of issues you have? Those things, making that personal connection, but also how to sell, how to make people say yes to you. That was a good thing. Customer service, and, I had to do when I worked in the kitchen, I worked at a country club. It wasn't just like a regular restaurant and everything. Country club, you interact with the members a little bit more, and, there's a little bit more service implied in some of that. So, man, being able to take all of that, man, and mesh it together, I think that's helped sell. How do you make
you had a little more background in sales
and sell yourself? But just connection, one, sitting with somebody, across from somebody, and talking to them, being